of our own universe. We sustain it and maintain it, and when we go back into the experience of the sound sleep state or the deep sleep state, again we are the destroyer or the dissolver of our own creation. So here, Baba, I am repeating that it is not so much that you are within the cosmos as that the cosmos is within you. That means we, each one of us, are the creator of our own universes based on our subjective mind. Subjective mind, it is extremely important. I might go a little deeper into it, because in discourses Baba uses a very beautiful sentence where Baba says that the mood of the perceiver invests the perception with its own coloring. Now these are Baba's words. The mood of the perceiver, that means if I am the perceiver of anything, the mood of the perceiver will invest the perception. That means what story I will make out of what is happening out there in the world. What is the meaning that I am giving to what is happening out there in the world? How do I accept or how do I contain what is happening out there in the world is directly dependent upon what is my mood at that point in time. The mood of the perceiver invests the perception with its own coloring. It will invest the perception. Means it will make the perception according to what my mood is. The oft repeated example which I may have said it 100 times, but never mind. We all are sitting over here, and all of a sudden the door opens and a big dog, what is that name? Somebody said, I just forget. Saint Martin. Is it a big dog? Saint Bernard. Saint Bernard. Saint Bernard. Saint Martin is a brand new.
Stevie Martin is the
Okay. So the Saint who? What Saint what? Bernard. Saint Bernard walks into the room. See, oh Baba. And lovers of dog like Jangir or Somit or and many others, they would drool. They would, my God, you also, yeah. You will be so excited with love and fondness that you want to hug and you want to kiss. But a person who has experienced being chased by a dog when you are young or bitten by a dog once, will, oh my God. Oh, F. And immediately.
Nobody heard it.
The best example, I okay, you can give that, is Hawaii. She just doesn't like. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to convey through this example is, what is happening out there is constant. Same thing. We are sitting, we are talking, door opens, dog comes in. That is what is actually happening. A means action, what is happening. B is the belief system of what you believe is happening or going to happen. Your interpretation of what is happening out there. Your meaning which you give to yourself of what is happening out there is B. And the C, ABC, is the condition in which you are put in. In other words, C is not, repeat, not directly connected with A. C is connected with B as to what you think is happening, and that will have the repercussions on you. Am I making sense? In other words, that itself shows that the mood, as Baba says, of the perceiver. If I feel that the dog is something horrible, then I will just want to run away or do something or shriek and do all kinds of things, And in short, my palpitation, my heartbeat, my whatever it is, my blood pressure would be totally different from those who are dog lovers. Now, if A is the same, A is constant, then C should be constant. Am I making sense? But here it is not. In other words, whatever experience that we experience in life has nothing to do directly with what is happening out there, but what is your perception of what is happening out there. What do you think is what is happening out there makes all the difference. I have been saying this over and over again, and I don't mind repeating, because that makes us responsible for whatever condition we are in. By changing our B, we can beautify our C. We can beautify our C.
By changing the perception.
By changing our B, the belief system, we can change the C. Right? Another example again, which I have been giving it over and over again, but I embolden myself to do that for the simple reason that you keep forgetting that those incidents, so it is as if it is for the first time that you are listening, so it's fine with me also. There was a patient, and I know you will get there was a patient who had some heart ailment and all that, so he goes to the doctor, a very senior doctor, a very, very senior doctor. So the doctor, take the pulse and all that, and as he's doing this, he does just like that, chuk chuk chuk, you know that, huh? And tells the patient, you have nothing to worry, your pulse is okay, your heartbeats are okay, everything is fine, just take this medicine, come after 15 days, don't worry, all's fine. But the patient has observed doctor doing chick chick chick, so he said, ghar jata hai, he takes medicine for 1 day, 2 days, but his ailment is not, it's the same thing, there's no cure, no difference, no nothing, and in 3 to 4 days he rushes back to the doctor. And doctor sees, the patient and says, Abba, I told you to come after 15 days, why did you come after 3 or 4 days, Patient says, doctor, please feel free. I won't get any, I will not be afraid of something. Please be honest. Please feel free and tell me exactly what is wrong with me. Because I observed on that day that when you were checking my pulse, you nodded your head like this and did chick, 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 chick. Like that, So then the doctor says, oh, that, I'm telling you nothing is wrong with your heart. But that was because my watch had just come from repairs and once again it stopped functioning. So when I saw my watch and I said, oh my God, again the watch has gone. So the chick 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 was for the watch and not for the heart. But what did the patient interpret? What is the meaning it gave? What is the perception it did? That my heart is not functioning, and that is why he's not telling me the truth, and that is why the medicines did not give.
He did not feel the effect of
It did not work also.
So you're getting so in other words, the message that Baba is trying to convey is that if we have cultivated a positive, an art of always taking positively in our stride of what is happening out there, then it makes all the difference in the way we are.
That's why placebos work.
Yes, that's why placebo works. Yeah. True. Okay. So that I repeat this, it's a very, very powerful sentence, and all Baba's messages are, it is not so much that you are within the cosmos as that cosmos is within you. The second one, the saints of the present are the sinners of the past. It is such a consolation for sinners like maybe many of us, right? And Baba has said that his full-time job is to convert his liabilities into assets. Baba has said the saints of the present were the sinners of the past, and the sinners of the present would be the saints of the future. In other words, it's all an ongoing process, a chakki of converting. Again, that gives us a kind of not a license to sin, but a feeling of we are not going to be thrown down the dumps. We are not going to be, condemned. It is not a kind of a damnation forever, that you will be in hell forever. Nothing of that sort. That everyone goes through this, and that we are meant for that supreme goal, we are meant for finally reach there, and just we are in the process of doing, and in the process of doing, We do a lot of things, experimenting, experiencing in the false expectation that these things will give me joy and happiness and stuff like that. Basically, what is sin? Basically, sin is nothing but a kind of a self-gratification in the wrong expectation that this will give me a sense of whatever. You know.
Absence of knowledge is
Correct, thank you. Sorry. Absence of knowledge. Yeah, absence of knowledge. Absence of knowledge is not sin actually, but it commences on that. Yes, you are right. In other words, as Baba very beautifully at some other point in time says, you know, that all suffering is because of the ignorance of the true nature of the self. Everything is because of the ignorance of the true nature of the self. Once we realize what is the true nature of the self, the true nature of the self is divine, it is bliss, you know, then obviously all kinds of suffering ends. So and the third one, which Baba talks about, is while wine leads to self-oblivion. Self-oblivion would mean a kind of a unconsciousness of self-forgetfulness. Divine love leads to self-knowledge. So in other words, in both there is a sense of self-forgetfulness, but in the wine, the self-forgetfulness makes you, you know, in a sense a stupor, in a kind of a stupor, where after the effect is over, you are just the same. Whereas here, in terms of divine love, you know, it leads you to self-forgetfulness, but that is an ongoing, continuous process of self-knowledge, going towards self-knowledge.
In the firm conviction that the 58 messages of Meher Baba, which comprise this volume, will be found to be, as has been said of the messages of Tibet's great Yogi Milarepa, a feast of delight to them who uphold the dynasty of gurus by living according to their commandments. I conclude this foreword with the final account on page 58. When the goal of life is attained, one achieves the reparation of all wrongs, the healing of all wounds, the righting of all failures, the sweetening of all sufferings, the relaxation of all strivings, the harmonizing of all strife, the unraveling of all enigmas, and the real and full meaning of all life, past, present, and future.
So there ends the foreword, so let me read the final part of it. In the firm conviction that the 58 messages of Meher Baba, which comprise this volume, will be found to be, as has been said of the messages of the Tibet's great Yogi Milarepa, a feast of delight to them who uphold the dynasty of gurus by living according to their commandments, I conclude this foreword. Milarepa also was a great master, and he had written many beautiful things. So here the person who is writing the foreword is saying that it's a feast of delight, that when you read it, it is so beautiful. It not only augments our knowledge in terms of intellectual knowledge, but also in a sense promotes us or pushes us or enthuses us to apply that to our day-to-day living. And I conclude this foreword with the final account on page 58. When the goal of life is attained, and Baba has said in another message, the aim of life is to love God, and the goal of life is to become one with God. Everything else has no meaning. The very purpose for this body is to achieve the goal. As Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who was a perfect master, said, you know, that he is born to no purpose, who, having the rare privilege of being born a man, does not realize God in this very life. That means the whole purpose of a human body is lost if we do not realize God in this very life. And the one, perhaps the easiest, surest, and the safest way to reach that goal of liberation or moksha or mukti or salvation is, as Baba has said in his My Wish, the last point, that whosoever remembers Baba's name at the time of breathing his last comes to me. And Baba has clarified that coming to me would mean that that particular soul, there is no rebirth for that particular soul, and he or she would experience infinite bliss eternally. And Baba has clarified also that that is not a state of perfection, because perfection is to be had in the physical body, in the human body, on earth, and the experience of the one who is perfect is infinite knowledge, infinite power and infinite bliss. Whereas the person whose destiny is to achieve mukti or liberation, what he or she, the soul experience, there is no he, she after the soul drops the body, obviously, is of infinite bliss. So here Baba says, when the goal of life is attained, whichever way, either through realization or through liberation, one achieves the reparation of all wrong. The reparation is a recompense of all wrongs, the healing of all wounds, the righting of all failures, the sweetening of all suffering, the relaxation of all strivings. Strivings would mean struggles. The harmonizing of all strife. Strife means conflict, struggles, disputes. The unraveling of all enigmas. Unraveling means unknotting, to unknot or to remove the disentangle, the entanglements. The unraveling of all enigmas. Enigmas would mean mysteries, riddles, puzzles, and the real and the full meaning of all life, past, present and future. That means that is the goal. When the goal is achieved, there is nothing more to achieve. There is no question which is unanswered. Everything becomes absolutely crystal clear. So that was the foreword, and now we go with the messages.
Life at its best. If understood, life is simply a jest. If misunderstood, life becomes a pest. Once overcome, life is ever at rest. For pilgrims of the path, life is a test. When relinquished through love, life is at its best.
This is how we started today's session. These are Baba's words, life at its best. If understood, life is simply a jest.
What's a jest?
That means jest is like a joke, you are able to take it lightly. And that is what in other messages Baba has said, that the problem is that we make, these are not Baba's exact words, we make a mountain out of molehill. We give too much of importance to things which does not require any importance. The one phrase word that Baba had used during his ministry, I think that was especially when he was with the ladies monthly and all that, and that was Jane Do. If you know, Jane Do means just let it go, forget it, don't bother about it, don't brood over it, don't go deep into it, don't delve into it. Because we all come across so many instances, so many issues, so many things which disturb our mind. So just let it go, just let it be. Do not give too much of importance and emphasis to such things, because at the end of it all, everything is an illusion. And if, at the end of it all, if certain experience has come to me, it is because I needed that experience for my growth. And if I go again deep into it, and if I again react to it, then again I am binding the same samskaras, and then it keeps on going on and on and on. So once you let it pass or let it go, or do not brood, or do not weep, or do not wail, or do not give cognizance, do not give importance, much emphasis, then that part is over. So life, if understood, life is simply a jest. If misunderstood, life becomes a pest. And we all know how it can become a pest, where everything irks, everyone irks. I am the only correct person, I am the only right person. Nobody understands me. Everybody is, against me. Everybody behaves like Who is the best?
He conveniently dashes his leg to me and
Was
gives me
it-
a smirk.
Was it the dash for the jest or the pest?
The best part, Mama's always right.
The pest. Mama is always right. You know,
That's what Mama thinks.
it's all mamas. All mamas
Mamas
face this. So if misunderstood, life becomes a pest. Once overcome, life is ever at rest. Overcome in the sense, okay, you know why things, if you understand it with the proper perspective, why things are happening. This is how I feel. Basically, like how I remember just last week we were in Pune, very nice big session, where I said, okay, being with Baba does not mean that you are not going to die. Does not mean that you are not going to fall sick. Does not mean that you are not going to have dengue and chikungunya and whatever. Does not mean that you are not going to meet with accidents and all. It simply helps us, if we are sincere about it, it helps us to understand why things happen the way they happen in our life. It helps us to understand that to a very great extent we are the co-creators of what is happening in our life. That we have contributed something that is happening in our life consciously or unconsciously, knowingly or unknowingly, that way, and that it helps us, hopefully, to give it a response which is spiritually matured, so that you are not reactive, so that you are able to handle life's situation more impactfully. That's about all. Nothing will change. Your karma is not going to change. Maybe it may, Baba's grace can do anything, but basically when we expect too much, that, oh, because we are with Baba, that this, how is it that this person fell sick because you were Baba? Sick is because, how can you be? That way. So, once overcome, life is ever at rest. For pilgrims of the path, life is a test. Now, I think that is something, I don't know, because I personally feel I would rather not be a pilgrim, because why should I go into a test, rather if instead of just understanding and making it a jest. Pilgrims of the path, it is really a test because they have chosen a certain pathway. They have chosen the involutionary journey where at every step they may be confronted with temptations. And Baba says that here at gross level we are confronted with temptations, whether it be greed, whether it be pride, whether it be lust, whether it be name, whether it be fame, power, etc., etc. But the temptations of the inner spiritual path, they are much more tantalizing than these temptations. So at every stage you have to, it's a test. In other words, it's a test.
It's very difficult.
It's very difficult. Thank you. When relinquished through love, life is at its best. And that is why, I think, to help us not go through all this rigmarole, Baba simply says, make me your constant companion. Remember me wholeheartedly and as often as you can in the midst of your daily activities and whatever you are doing. Simple. Think of me before starting anything. At the end of the job, offer me everything. You see? He makes it so easy. And he says, don't worry about what you are, who you are, how good you are, or how bad you are, or ugly you are, or dirty you are, or filthy you are, or sinful you are. Just hold on to my Dharma. Keep holding on. So he makes things so simple for us. So simple for us that we need not go through all these things. He says, just offer it to me. Even if you are bad, I am like an ocean. And no amount of perfume or sandalwood is going to make the ocean, aromatic. And in the same way, no amount of kachra or garbage or trash is going to pollute me. You just offer and offer and offer. I think there can be no easier way than to lead such a life, and at the same time simultaneously trying our best to see that we respond to life's situation in thoughts, words and deeds in a manner that will glorify and please Baba. Beyond that, I don't think we need to do anything, and we will fail. I am not saying we may fail, we will fail. and we will fall. But still, we are supposed to get up and ask Baba's pardon and keep on doing this over and over and over again, all the time, constantly keeping him as our companion. I think that is the simplest of all things that we can do. And that is why we are here in all such gatherings, whether it be here in Vadala or in Pune or in Center, or now Pimpri has started from last week onwards. Pimpri also we are going. So the basic idea is to, this is the only idea, and we keep on rotating that idea over and over again, because beyond that there is nothing. Right? Yes.
How does one know whether one's a pilgrim or not, or leading a normal life or not? Like when we say pilgrim on the path, you don't really know, no?
See, basically, I think, I personally feel,
I mean, do you
I'm
know?
not judge, I'm not a judge, nor neither am I qualified to be on the path. Means what? The path starts from the first plane of consciousness. The path starts, involutionary process starts from the first plane of consciousness. The first plane of consciousness is the first stepping stone in the subtle world. That means only when all my gross samskaras are rarefied, weakened, over, I will enter the first step in the first plane of consciousness. That means as long as I am considering myself as the gross body, as long as I am attracted or distracted by some other gross bodies, I am in the gross. As long as I am enjoying the gansak and the pani puri and whatever you call it for vegetarians pani puri or whatever, what is it called? No. Paneer tikka, whatever. As long as I am enjoying that, because when you go into the subtle world, you lose gradually your gross consciousness. You lose your sense of taste and your sense of touch.
The first
step. So as long as we are having that, we are confirmed to be in the gross plane.
But if
No, but then it's all our destiny.
Not at all on the
actually
path.
to go through that.
but
Either you reach God through the evolutionary process that once
And
you
reach
get
God
in,
realization.
once you get in, you are on the path.
Otherwise
Or else-
you can opt for mukti or moksha.
I know, you want the shortcut.
There is a form
the
there, you
shortest
tick the right box, So
But and like his question was, how do you know you're a pilgrim?
that's what I'm saying.
So no, but pilgrim couldn't be, even if I like chart, I've still come to Baba, I'm still getting there, but
No, Sai, the point being is that at some point, all of us would be eventually destined to
Of course we
climb up
are.
that
Not
very
necessarily
narrow
through,
ladder.
not necessarily through the entire process. Like Baba says that first of all, the entire process is illusion. That's what Baba says.
Yeah.
And if you are destined for God realization, then the entire process can be travel in split second, less than split second, all your planes. But if your destiny, this is my understanding, if your destiny is for salvation or mukti or liberation, I don't think you need to go through that, because somewhere else I have read where Baba says, I think it is somewhere in this time's Glow magazine, you can read that. Where the goal,
First cover page
where
was
the
quite
goal,
clever.
where the goal is given as liberation or realization. So I am interpreting that to our benefit and advantage, that liberation is also a kind of goal.
Because you enjoy
No, because the moment if I say, just say whether I affirm I'm a pilgrim, right or wrong, it's affirming your ego. Because how can I say I'm a pilgrim?
Correct.
In a
No,
sense,
here-
in a
But see,
sense.
for us, because Baba is giving us his literature, he has got to categorize it for us for our understanding.
Yeah.
And therefore, he is using the word pilgrim because in his literature, he is nomenclated pilgrim to be one who's on the path, means all his gross consciousness has rarefied over with all
As
those-
long as I am feeling this is me and this is you, and it's gross.
No,
So we are
like,
not on the path.
Like when we are talking about, for example, worldly, I'm assuming mostly worldly, sufferings come, sufferings go. Like you said the last time, couple of things on that. Generally, when you are suffering, you remember Baba a hell of a lot more, which is pretty much true. So then, if these things are happening in our worldly life, they will also be happening on the path, except maybe more because you volunteer yourself to,
On the
like,
path?
like how you said, Cyrus, people who are close to Baba actually have a hell of a lot more suffering
Yes.
simply because he wants to wipe out all of your
But see, they are
sanskaras
mostly
faster.
They are mostly
Like a
gross.
cavalry charge, you
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
through the whole thing.
But
and
they are mostly gross in nature.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the subtle qualities are different in the perception.
of course, yeah.
If you are in the subtle world or the mental world, your suffering is not gross. It is subtle.
Yeah.
It is mental.
But it's more powerful.
It is more powerful.
Uh-huh.
It is more powerful.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So there is suffering in the subtle and
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
mental.
It's probably
Of
even
course,
more.
whatever thought process you give, and
But
you feel
then
the
at the last-
repercussion.
At the last journey, at the end of the journey, where Baba talks about enjoyment of suffering. And I think,
Enjoyment of suffering.
and I vaguely
It's
remember
difficult.
whether it was Ali K. Rani or it was Dr. Ghani who asked, how can there be enjoyment of suffering? And Baba, being Baba, he explained, like if you feel like scratching, then you're going to itch and you scratch. And when you scratch, what happens is there is a sense of enjoyment. You feel something nice. But at the same time, you are suffering. So that kind of, that was a very gross example which Baba gave so that we can understand.
Yes.
And that is
Detail about
because you are here and you're seeing God. You're not become one with God.
There is so
That is
terrible
intense.
longing to become
That
one
kind
with
of
God. And it is as, like Baba says, it is as if you can't afford to wait a second more, you just want to be.
Like a fish out of water, is it?
And like a fish out of water, I will use the word flopping out of water. You want to go back and you know that you cannot, for eons it may take a long time for you to go. So we cannot even express it because we are so gross in that
But
sense.
Cyrus, if this pilgrim which he is talking about, it's in gross body, you can't go in that path or what?
We have to be the gross.
No,
That's
it means
The gross body has to be there.
Yeah.
Till the end the gross
Yeah,
body
is
is
always
there.
Yeah.
Good question. The gross body is always there, but the consciousness is not of the gross.
Then you.
The consciousness is not, that means now assuming that you are now on a subtle plane,
Okay.
third plane, fourth plane.
Okay.
Then your consciousness is somewhere else.
Okay.
But you will still have a gross body. And because I am in the gross, I will look at you only as gross. And I will see that, oh, Kamal is talking, Kamal is going to disco dance, and Kamal is enjoying, and Kamal is doing everything, everything which is gross.
Yeah.
But that is only my perception of what you are doing.
Correct.
Because my perception is gross, I will look at you only as gross, and I will perceive you only as gross. Try to understand.
Yes.
Whereas actually your consciousness is somewhere else.
Like sleepwalking, Baba says, in sleepwalking, you are not aware you're
Yes, you are
sleepwalking.
not aware.
So you are doing something else,
Right.
but I am seeing you sleepwalking. I say you are doing that.
And you were
So you'll
eating,
say-
you opened the fridge and ate my cheese. What are you talking? You don't know? No, I don't know.
Sorry, he's good.
Okay.
You said that you have to be like, you lose, at one point you lose your sense of taste.
Taste and touch.
So what if you're born without the sense of taste?
Okay, that's a physical disability. That does not necessarily mean that you are spiritually advanced.
So that means you can't go to that
Like for
point.
autistics,
Of course you can go.
you have, yeah. They don't feel the sense of pain. They may just go on hurting themselves. That's not what it is. This is a different sensation.
That's a manufacturing defect.
It's quite like what the mass experience, right?
Exactly.
Or like some
Yes.
perfect masters, Upasni Maharaj.
Yes. Perfect must.
No, that
yeah.
was
What I mean is
Babajan.
like, Baba Jan
Yeah.
who was
Correct.
feeding the
Maggots,
maggots on her
yeah,
skin. So
yeah.
basically, no gross has a gross body, but
Yeah.
Gross
the
body has
consciousness-
to be there throughout
Yeah,
the
She
journey.
was not
What
feeling
about
anything.
the mandli?
Like Muhammad,
Were they the pilgrims?
like Muhammad Mas would have this habit of bending
Yeah.
and dish,
Dish.
a whole, because we've seen him doing this all the time, everything was done.
Yeah.
And Baba would say that actually he is so immersed in his sight of God. He's seeing that if you were to disturb him and if you were to get angry and curse you, you will be doomed for life. It is only because of me, the Baba says, that he cannot do that. So I am seeing what nonsense he's doing,
So which is why we see their gross, but they can
This-
see our subtle.
Yes.
Yes.
Because they are in the
Yes.
Exactly.
so they can see
So
that.
as you are, wherever your position is, you will see them as that.
Okay, now I have another
They are
question.
different.
So now for dogs, they also see our subtle.
They have subtle senses, but it doesn't mean that they are subtle conscious.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
The dogs are there, crows are
crows
there,
are
you know,
there,
that
right,
way, yeah.
right.
Starts
There
with
was-
plants, in fact.
Yeah.
The
There
most
are some subtle
matrix,
senses.
yeah.
Yes,
In
even
certain species, those senses are a little highly developed.
Right.
That way. You are asking about mandali.
I said about the mandi. Then what happens to the mandi? Were they also on that path?
According to me, although this is my understanding, we are talking about mandali as synonymous with circle members. We are talking like that. Then if they are the circle members, then as per the understanding that we are given, you know, that they are already on the path, they are in the circle, you know, and they are already shortlisted for God realization in X number of lifetimes. Right?
But they were given Vinyat, some
Yeah,
sanskar, that they
yeah,
were
yeah,
pro.
sanskar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
would not.
Listen,
Yeah.
for your question, there is another paragraph to your question. When you're involving in the evolutionary path, you have to come when you're born. You come with all your faculties. You just are like any normal person. But it depends when they will get awakened. Like Baba said, Sant Jnaneshwar, he became God realized at the age of 8. He was like a normal child. That means the sense of taste, smell, all that he enjoyed, and suddenly he was so ripe for God consciousness that at that age, at age 8, he was bestowed that you're God,
Yeah.
you're God conscious.
So what if you were a normal human?
You come as a
You
normal,
lived-
you come as a normal
Uh-huh.
human, and you time like how you have an alarm. You time yourself that at this age I will go in search of God. That my evolutionary journey will manifest. Till then it's unmanifest. Like how Baba required Baba Jan to unveil him. So like that, even as a pilgrim, you are cross for your parents or for your friends, for your teacher, for anybody. And there will be a particular, you wind yourself, you alarm yourself at a particular time where your perfect master or somebody seeks you and gives it to you. Or if you're not really on the 6th plane or 5th plane, you may journey. And in life you will journey from the 1st to the 2nd to the 3rd to the 4th. Like for example for Muhammad the Mast, he was in Bindi Bazaar, he was the 3rd plane. He was the 3rd plane and he was taken to Baba and he was between the 3rd and the 4th plane. So Baba pushed him to the 5th plane. So it is in the body at a particular, he was a normal human being, he had
Does it have
married.
to occur naturally?
It occurs so naturally like we are
But
breathing.
what if you're a proper human? Eventually one
You
day.
are a human being.
Yeah, no, like you came out fine.
Yeah, you're like any one of us. You're
Yeah.
playing, you're fine.
Then one day you get
One day,
one
you
day
suddenly, you get a hawa.
no, you get shot.
What is a hall? What's the Baba used
You
to
get
word?
what? Siddharth?
You get
See.
shot.
Short.
Yeah,
short.
yeah, yeah.
And then you'll go to the hospital, you'll recover, you'll find. Then for some reason you'll lose your sense of, I don't know, feel.
It depends where and where you
That's a
wind your
different,
clock.
that's the incident that
Okay, he's focusing on sense of touch and
Touch.
sense of touch can be because of some physical anomaly, means wrongness, like how you said, you know,
You're short or
hospitalized and all
something.
that.
That is different.
That is different. It could be physical, it could be spiritual. What Baba talks about because of your consciousness withdrawing within itself. The
There's a lot of
first two,
difference.
it is withdrawing. The first two doesn't, it just goes away. It just falls off. And what Soumya explained now, that all these things don't happen just by accident. It may be that in the past life you've already gone up to the 4th plane or the 5th plane and then you've died. So when you are reborn, you at a spiritual level you take on or you pick on from where you have left and then move on. But when you move on, it doesn't mean that at birth only you start creating miracles of the 4th plane. All of a sudden, it's not like that. You are born normal and the spirituality or the plane manifests itself gradually. Got it?
How old are you?
30.
So like 14 maybe, same.
Good. Okay, so while were we? I think we finished off. And where? Yes, no, we have not finished. Yeah. So we were. All this discussion came for pilgrims of the path. Life is a test. We still have one more. When relinquished through love, when surrendered, resigned, given up, through love, life is at its best. Now, Baba has emphasized time and again this aspect of love. So much so that Baba says, I have only one message to give, and I repeat it age after age: love God and become God. But the problem is that the love that we think is love is totally different from what love Baba talks about. And I think again, I give this example. Supposing I say, I love Soumya. I don't think I do.
Fish love, no? Fish love, no story.
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
So you don't have to use Soumya as an example.
Yeah, she's so nice
Yeah,
and this
bacha.
and that. But in all this, I am gratifying my senses. Then where is the love in all that? Love is like disinterested love. Disinterested love would mean is the highest type of love, which means I have no particular interest in you in a sense that what is in it for me? Why should I do this for you? In other words, love is like oil which when poured on water spreads all over without demarcation, without thinking that, okay, if you make proper food for me, then I love you. If you do this to me, then I love you. If you don't listen to me, don't obey to me, then I will not love you. Not like that. Love is a one-way traffic. It just gives and gives and gives and does not expect anything in return. Love is not like ghee, which when poured on water coagulates only at one place. This, okay, if you do this, then I love. If you don't do this, so it's a very, very different ball game of what Baba talks about love is totally different. So when you have given up, and why Baba emphasizes love above so many other things? In meditation, in devotion, in knowledge, these are the three parts, the yogas. There is a very high probability of self-aggrandization, that I am a great meditator. I remains. Whereas love is the only thing where the I is actually systematically eliminated. Where I is not there, my flashlight of consciousness or focus is on doing something good for the other. I am not thinking about myself. There is no I, my, me and mine. There is an active concern for the well-being of the other, and you take steps or take action for that particular. And as you feed less and less of the ego, the selfish ego mind, then this ego becomes weakens. That means love in a sense helps in weakening the false ego. And the whole process of this creation is to eradicate the false ego. And therefore love is given so much of importance and emphasis that it is the most normal, natural, surge way of weeding out your own ego. Yeah, but that is again, correct. When Baba says, that love is a gift from God to man, obedience is a gift from master to man, surrender is a gift from man to master. And when Baba talks about love is a gift from God to man, it is that love, when given to some individual, he becomes like, as Jagdish just now said, like a fish flopping out of water. That is a very, very high, where nothing affects you, nothing attracts you, nothing bothers you. You are only focused on loving your beloved, and you are willing to sacrifice everything, including your life, for the sake of your beloved. That's a very, very high aspect of love. So we finished life at its best, these 4 lines, 5 lines that Baba has given. And now if there is anything you want to share, we can do. What time is it now?